I went to r/gangstalking, and that one.
What's that?
It ended up being more sad. Yeah, we talked about it on the show. I forgot about it. We talked about it on the show until I looked there again. It's basically people who have genuine mental illness.
Yeah,
saying like, "Hey, I was out at the supermarket today, and I saw a bunch of red cars. You know, they're always in red cars." And I was walking through the gluten-free aisle, and someone behind me said something that I said exactly just a couple weeks prior. And they're mocking me. They know that I know that they're watching, and they still come after me.
They're conspiracy theorists?
No, they believe that there are huge groups of a government agency that are trailing them in a very clandestine way. And so they will say things like, and then it's just a feedback loop in this community. Like every once in a while, like a big post comes through of like, hey guys, please get yourself checked out for schizophrenia. This is not normal. There are not people following you. This is, you're losing your mind.
There are videos of it. There's the lady's like, I'm being gang stalked right now. Look at this. This is it's so funny. She's like, I see him here every day coming down this street. And you look, and it's the mailman.
Yeah.
Oh no.
She approaches the mailman who's in that stupid mail truck. Why do we still have those stupid mail trucks? And she screams at him, "Stop following me!"
What's wrong with mail trucks?
This is insane.
They've been driving the same trucks since like 1950.
I feel like the mail is one of the more frugal government organizations I can think of.
Well, that's because they're going out of business right now.
The cheapest way to like run the mail cannot be to maintain a fleet of 1950s mail vans.
I feel like that's frugality.
If Jeff Bezos thought that was the way to go, he'd have a bunch of those bitches riding around. Instead, he got big ass vans that say Amazon in the back. There's a whole conspiracy behind why they're in those vans. Let me look this up.
Kyle, you're getting gang stalked, aren't you? You're getting gang stalked by the mail. I knew it. This is I'm reading the How to Protect Yourself from Gang Stalking thread. That's at the top of the gang stalking subreddit, and it's in bold, the enemy is a coward. The enemy is a deceiver. The enemy is diabolical. The enemy is the corrupt. This is insane.
Psychiatry is an apparatus of abuse.
I feel really bad. I feel really bad for them, actually, because
it's like it's a genuine mental illness, like some sort of paranoid psychosis. And so this is.
I'm just happy there are people on Earth that are that funny.
Yeah, it is pretty funny. So, those are good videos on YouTube. Anybody who hasn't watched, where like they'll sit. That was one where the guy's pointing around. Look at all these red cars. It's it's just a red car. Why are you parked next to so many red cars? He's like pointing at some like old lady. He's like, yeah, you think I don't know who you are? You think I don't know? And then like gets out of the car, walks over. What are you doing, ma'am? Oh, just shopping? Just shopping? I please, I'm just trying to put my groceries in. Yeah, in your red Subaru, huh? Like that kind of nonsense.
What a bummer.
Yeah, that part's kind of sad. Witchcraft, I was having more fun making fun of. This got 1,400 upvotes on the witchcraft subreddit. My sister, 9 years old, is already a powerful witch. She saw me studying for a very difficult calculus test. And when I said it would be tough, she gave me her lucky pencil and told me to use it on the test and I'd do well. I thought it was so cute. I used it through the whole test, except for the last two questions. It had an enormous watermelon-shaped eraser on the back that made it cumbersome to work with. So I got my test back, and those were the only two questions I lost points on. Fast forward, I was helping her clean her room and came across a book of spells, including one for enchanting her pencil. Incredible. And people are supporting this. There's something about amazing kids and their intuition. This is so cool. Keep encouraging her. She's going to go far.
What was the grade?
What's that?
What was the grade? I want to know what the grade was on that test. Because she didn't even say. She just said I did well, right?
Yeah, probably still shitty. Probably not good.
Yeah,
it wasn't magic enough of a pencil.
She would have said like a 98% or something.
Right? She could have had
It was a three-question test, and I only got the last two wrong. Fucking idiot. I once did a spell when I was 7 out of spite on a tire, and that tire later ran over some nails. Children are powerful, and they don't even know it. I made a love potion out of all the good-smelling soaps and stuff in my bathroom when I was a kid. I used it on myself as a test, and damn, I genuinely liked the person I saw in the mirror. too bad I don't remember what was in it. Yeah, it was probably fucking a bath bomb and some warm vanilla sugar bath.
Man, did I get a rash? None of them are like that.
It was a hex the whole time. Had something I wanted. So
I don't know
if you guys saw in our group chat, I sent that meme about DPH, diphenhydramine, the people who get fucked up on Benadryl.
Yeah. Robo-tripping.
Robo-tripping is different. So I learned that from the Benadryl one. So the DPH is the Benadryl one. DXM is Robo-trip. And I don't know the relationship between those two societies of upstanding individuals, but I was on the DPH one, which is diphenhydramine, people who abuse Benadryl. And we've said before that if you go on YouTube and you look up DPH trip story, it is nothing but people like telling you don't do this. It is a nightmare. It's a waking nightmare. It is horrible. I do not recommend this drug to people. And somehow they get like addicted to it and they do it all the time. It destroys your brain. It like what it does to your liver and your kidneys makes alcohol look like a health potion. Apparently, like it's that fucking devastating to your body and your brain. You become demented. You get you get demented. Psychotic. You get demented. You adapt dementia over time and you get fucking brain worms and you fall apart.
Don't you see spiders and stuff?
You see spiders. So I found a story on there, and so what they say is that 700 milligrams of Benadryl is like a threshold of like, you're almost in Hat Man territory where you might see a shadowy man who wears a hat. They all consistently say the same fantasy or the same visions about this Hat Man. And this is a story. This guy took 4,000 milligrams, 4 grams of Benadryl, and he's telling this story. And so I'm going to read this. He says,
"Thank you.
Stats, age 20. This is from a couple of years ago. Stats, age 28. Name, Steven. Occupation, TerraSteel Factory and Recycle. 145 pounds, 5'10". Education, high school diploma. Favorite movie, Cars 2. I'm 28. I work at a steel mill and I have no college degree. You'll have to take my word for this because I don't post any personal information of myself." You just did. Anyway, here's what you came for, how the trip went. 11 a.m.-ish. Took 80 pink caps. Throat got tired of swallowing so many, so I almost puked. 11:30 a.m. Extreme fatigue set in. Believe me when I say it was physically difficult to move. Not the oh ha I'm high, so couch locked hee, but literal near paralysis. I could not walk. I put paste all over my mouth and throat, so dry mouth was intense, but no excruciating. That doesn't make sense.
Okay, so he prepared for the dry mouth that was to come with some sort of paste.
That's some kind of paste. Thank you. At noon. At this point, everything went to shit. I was completely paralyzed, so I just gave up on trying to move. Everything was dreamlike, jumpy and flickery. On LSD, everything is relaxed and flowing. On DPH, everything is skittery like a low FPS video game. My bedroom door swung open and suddenly a black figure dashes in. It teleports in front of me and stares at me. Even though it's a silhouette with no eyes or face, I can feel a stare. There's no spiders, but thousands of black beads begin spinning around my wall. I can see a man in the hat, fully shadowed about 12 feet away. 6 minutes in, I'm not sure if this is reality or if I'm dreaming. I can't even check to see if my eyes are open or if they're closed. Can't move, just silently scream in horror as the entire room begins spinning 900 miles an hour with shadow people dancing about me. 12:25? The spinning of the room keeps getting faster and faster until I can feel myself vomiting, but the pain and sensation feels oddly distant. I can't describe it. It feels like someone else is vomiting through my body. It is horrific nonetheless. A shadow person then begins to choke me, and I feel like I'm being strangled for a good hour before everything goes black. Everything begins to fade to white. I realize I can move and walk around and that I'm not high anymore. Looking back, this was obviously a lucid dream while I was comatose. I can't really compare it to anything. Look up the SpongeBob episode SB29 when he's in a big white room and there's nothing that exists for the quickest comparison. I was in a completely white space, and the whole time it was just ambient random noises like whizzes, buzzes, growls, screams, voices whispering, lion roars, jet engines, streaking lights. The sensations felt like sandpaper was being rubbed on me, and I felt freezing. I can't put into words, but I felt like this was the longest part of the trip. My sense of time was so distorted, I believe I was in the white space longer than I've been alive. What was less than 1 day, legitimately, wholly, completely fucking felt like 6 years minimum. I have 6 to 10 years worth of auditory and visual memories from that day. 6 to 10 years of my life were forgotten and replaced with those random auditory noises, streaks, and sounds. between 12:40 and 5 p.m. I don't know when the white space ended, but now I'm in the middle of the road. It's reality, not some surreal dream. I see a shadow man about 300 feet away, so I start running. I chase and chase, but he never gets closer. Eventually, I stop out of tiredness, and suddenly the sky opens up, and a gigantic black mouth swallows me whole. What happened next is I'm on Reddit, looking at Reddit. No joke. I can't see. I can see my own body. Or no, I can't see my own body. I just see a giant page that displays Reddit. I scroll through all the pages and all the titles and comments make no sense. Like, Trump reveals the truth about reveals the reveal. Like, eventually the screen fades and I can vomit again. I can feel it, but don't see it. Between 5 and 8, maybe, pure blackness and pain. All I can say. Every part of my body hurts more than it ever has. The phrase splitting headache can't describe it. It feels like there's a hot coal in my ears. I still can't move. I'm knocked out. The hallucinations are just streaks and flickers now. 8 to 12 p.m. the next day. Lots of buzzing noises. Felt like I was covered by a swarm of bees that were constantly vibrating. Some point during this stage, I woke up in a puddle of sweat and pink vomit. I tried to get up, but everything exploded into beads and swirls, and I felt a stabbing pain in my back. Oh. After about 1 hour of chilling, I managed to find my phone and call 911 saying I OD'd. 2 a.m. At the hospital, they pumped my stomach and Narcaned me, even though I don't do heroin. Woke up later. Not too big an ordeal, but I managed to spin it off as an accident and avoided the mental hospital. I go for dialysis weekly now. Aftermath. I quit my job for this trip and I'm still unemployed. No insurance, but I got Obamacare, which covered part of it. I am on dialysis and have permanent liver damage, permanent brain damage, and cognitive reduction, reduced brain size, irregular heartbeat for the rest of his life because he took 4,000 milligrams of Benadryl for not even a good high. I can't.
All right. No, not just for not even a good high. For the most terrifying experience that I can imagine. That sounded so horrific, and the fact that he has to deal with. I thought it was going to have a happy ending. Like, no, I thought he was going to be like. I thought he was going to be like, and never again. And that's why, kids. I'll never do that again. But it's like now he's retarded. Now,
sucks.
I mean, he probably should do it again. Maybe it'll like send him back the other way.
He's more likely to do it now. Yeah, it's like eating your way to the other side, like John Bennett used to say.
He should have done 5,000 milligrams. That's the correct 4,000.
The problem is he didn't commit. If you're gonna do Benadryl, do it.
Yeah, do a solid 10 grams.
I've every so often now, I just get a thought and I go to the DPH subreddit and I try and figure out what's driving these people, and you can't get an answer. They'll be like, what made you, people will ask, what made you do this in the first place? And they'll be like, don't even consider it. And it's like, but, and apparently, from realistically, from what I can tell, it's mostly super young kids, like teenagers who want to get fucked up on something and don't realize how much damage they're doing with these.
So the problem is pot's illegal.
They just legalize weed, guys. Jesus.
And a bigger problem is we make every drug out to be the equally awful for us. Mm-hmm. No one stops and says, look, marijuana will make you lazy and you might eat too many Doritos and miss class. It could ruin years of your life even. But instead of saying that, they're like, it's the devil. So is robo-tripping and heroin and prostitution. Don't sell yourself to old men. It's all the same. It's dude, do all the drugs you want, but please never robo-trip. You'll see the Hat Man. It'll ruin your body. You know what dialysis is?
You won't
like. So don't accidentally take 100 Benadryl.
No one accidentally take.
Don't accidentally buy 5 bottles of Benadryl and eat all of them.
You say it was 80 caps?
80 caps.
80, so 4,000 milligrams.
His throat was tired of swallowing. Now, I mean, it sounds like he would be a great tester for lock and load.
He's able to take any amount of pills.
As a swallow master. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, this was 2 years ago. This guy could be dead if he tangoed with the Benadryl devil again. The memes in this subreddit, usually memes about things you don't understand at all aren't that funny because you don't understand the reference point. But the way they do the virgin and the Chad, where it'll be the virgin LSD user, soy facing, seeing pleasant things, and then the Chad deliriant user seeing horrifying static Hatman and images and spy. It seems and something I started it's called a deliriant. Like that's the class of drug it's in, a deliriant hallucinogen. And so apparently, I've never done LSD, but the way it was explained online is they're like, so LSD, it works you into it. You kind of you feel a gradualness of the increase on the up, and there's an ability for you to ascertain, like, I know that's not real. Like, I know I'm seeing this, but I know this isn't fully real, at least most of the time, apparently. Whereas with deliriants, like diphenhydramine, they say that the hallucinations are unbelievably fast, sudden, and concrete. So you won't be able to tell if that thing that just appeared is real or not. Because in addition to you hallucinating, you're delirious. You're not registering things. Like you're not understanding. These people, they'll say they will smoke phantom cigarettes. They'll be smoking a cigarette. They'll be like, yeah, I was smoking a cigarette for like 20 minutes. Look down, nothing was in my hand. One guy said I played Clash of Clans on my phone for an hour. And then I looked back down. My phone was not there. It was upstairs. Like, and so they're just totally whole cloth inventing reality. They're like, and you'll hear voices of your loved ones, but they're not being encouraging. They're being horrible to you, like ripping on you, insulting you, and after that, you can look forward to seeing that. Better. It's no part are they like, and then just like the end of a warhead, the payoff. Like no, and then the payoff is you can't remember how little fun you had because you have dementia. Like apparently,
that sounds dreadful.
The worst drug. Just take it for allergies.
You sent those memes of like, I don't know, spiders crawling on people and really like uncomfortable to look at things, and I was just like, what the fuck is he sending me? It's like 2 a.m. All these spiders crawling on people's hands and shit. And it was like a starter pack for like robo tripping or whatever this is called again. Like DPHing. What are they? Remember in South Park when they were cheesing? They're spraying the cat piss and going to that other realm. Dude, that drug sounds so gross. Would you rather do this or crocodile?
You can do crocodile once and be okay, probably, right?
Can you do this once and be okay?
I mean,
it seems like if you do it big, you're fucked the first time.
Don't do it big. Do like 700 and leave it at that.
It's still so much.
It's probably too much.
Well, that guy did 4,000.
Yeah.
And he's 145 pounds. That to me stuck right out at the beginning. I was like, oh,
you're probably right.
A 145-pound man took 4 grams. Okay, bro. Like that made no sense to me to like do the super.
Taylor, are you reading that? I wanted your initial reaction.
Oh, let me take a look. Oh, wait, where?
The link.
The Japanese city.
Yes. Can you tell the audience
Japanese
about
city?
This story?
Alarmed by biting, clawing, attacking monkeys, and the photo is a monkey is sinisterly sitting outside of a window, waiting for the poor Japanese people to go.
Oh God! Speaking of great lungs, you sent me that link earlier from that Huffing subreddit. There's a subreddit dedicated to people who huff shit, and the guy was showing that he was like. Basically, they post pictures of like weird shit they've been huffing. And it's like, yo, bros, you tried this yet? And it'll be like PVC pipe glue. And I'm like, yeah, that does smell good, actually. Every time I've ever done any PVC work, I'm like, man, that smells nice. Then some guy will have like acetone for auto paint or something like that, some sort of paint thinner stuff. Taylor posts one, and the guy has Black Widow Killer. And he's like, yo, 12 hits of this and you see the doo-doo man.
Yeah, it's all misspelled, but it says every time 11, and it's a picture of Taro Spider Killer, that big orange can. And it goes,
not do this, people.
Every time 11 huffs fine, 12 huffs poop man come. And then it didn't write anymore after that. I guess the poop man came. And did you scroll to the other picture, Kyle?
No.
There's a picture of what he's huffing, and then you hit the right arrow, and it's a picture of a poop-stained mattress. And so this guy is clearly huffing so much spider killer that he's shitting himself. He's like an alcoholic waking up the next morning and being like, oh, why do you always take that 12th puff? Like,
it's kind of like that one. It's like after 2,500 milligrams, the Hat Man does not respect gender pronouns.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hat Man, he's the Benadryl.
Robitussin.
Yeah, Benadryl.
Okay.
Yeah, Robitussin is a real drug that people use if they can't get Tussinex. Or I guess Robitussin is not the real drug version of Tussinex, right?
Used to be, maybe, I think.
I was talking to a friend of mine, like, who was way too deep into codeine and Tussinex and that shit in like his early mid-20s. We were just having a game night the other night, and he was talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, it got bad, and there were times, I would go in and I'd go to my local clinic, and I would say I had the whole thing rehearsed. I'd say I have dark green phlegm. I've been coughing so much my throat hurts." And then when the nurse would say, "Are you allergic to anything?" I'd very casually go, "Oh yeah, my main doctor said I can't have something called codeine. And if you can't give them codeine, that means they have to get Tussinex." And he's like, "And it was great, dude. We had a great thing rolling for a while. I'd go and I'd get this giant bottle of Tussinex, and then I'd bounce around to different clinics like a couple of times a week." And then eventually he got banned from one of the clinics because they realized, like, this dude isn't fucking sick. There's no way you have the flu again, sir, for the 11th time in 2 months.
So Tussinex, that's the stuff that lets you see the...
Tussinex is like Robitussin, but it has no acetaminophen in it, I believe. And so it's like it's like Vicodin. I think it's liquid Vicodin, and that's an opiate. An opiate. Yeah. Right. So it's like instead of taking the pills, you're getting the liquid. And I don't know much about this class of drugs. The way he explained it to me was that like a tiny sip of that, so like 5 milliliters or something of that Tussinex, was equivalent to a much larger amount of actual Vicodin pills. And so he and a couple guys I knew would bounce around.
Okay, it's something else. I think what it is he was probably telling me he was allergic to acetaminophen, and they were giving him so he could
that must be what it is. Yeah,
because codeine is the best drug. Like it, I understand. It's so good. It makes you a little itchy, but you get used to that.
I think I'm not having a typical experience. It makes me like get like a throbbing kind of headachy type thing. And as you know, I get into it all the time. Yeah, it's the worst. And I get off it as fast as possible. I prefer pain.
You might be like me because I'm allergic to a lot of painkillers. Like I have a bad reaction every time. Like I just get like headaches. I get nauseous, like a bunch of stuff.
It's a good thing to be allergic to. Those things are dangerous.
Is it? What if you're ever burnt?
They'll just give you...
What if an RPG explodes on you and you're like, "No, not the good stuff. I'm allergic."
I'm allergic.
Give me something non-habit forming. Give me something 4th degree burns. That marrow is cooked.
It's like fucking Two-Face fuck me up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's worth being a bit itchy if that's the alternative. No, I'm scrolling through this Huffing community top all time, and it's so funny. Like, I know some of these people are trolling, obviously. The same thing with the gang stalking. But that tarot thing, the poop man come, that was the top all-time post there. The second one is just the guy who says psych ward, and he's in a psych ward.
Why did they give him a phone in the psych ward?
Dude, dude, mugshots of paint huffers.
Those are fun. Can you roll some of those up, Zach? Just find us some good paint huffing mugshots, because they genuinely are hilarious. I remember a Cops episode, and the cops roll up, and there's this guy with spray paint all over his face, and he's limping, and they're like, "What happened, Otis?" He's like, "Goddamn kids threw me off the bridge again." These kids came along and found this poor old homeless man so out of his mind on paint he couldn't resist, and they tossed him off a small bridge.
What? I'm a Warriors fan.
He's ready to steal Christmas.
He does. Dude, that's fucking Temu.com, Jim Carrey.
Oh, witness me. I like this guy.
What color would you be? What color would you get, Taylor?
What the closest to my beard color?
Oh, I bet you could huff real good. I feel like a beard would allow you to like keep some residual. Yeah, you might get overdosed quickly. The black eye almost like you almost can't tell. You know,
dude,
what I mean?
that guy's
joke.
He's like, "Give me Hickory Brown. Do y'all have Krylon Hickory Brown?"
Is there something about metallic paints that makes it better? Everyone's choosing them.
I think it's just because the people that did it with the beard and they did a natural color didn't get caught.
That's exactly it. That's
true.
It's that the people who are stupid and awful enough to huff gold sparkle paint are also very much likely to get arrested while huffing gold sparkle paint.
You know what else?
I'll do that to the president.
I bet genuinely that price is an object to these people. And so they're probably getting the cheapest spray stuff they can. So like maybe house color or like wall color is less or more expensive than gold.
I choose to believe they go to
Let
Home
him
Depot.
up some paint. Jesus.
They go to Home Depot, huff right in the aisles, and try to walk out unnoticed.
I'm sorry.
You can't prove anything.
Wait, excuse me. Where's plumbing? Like, just fucked up.
They do. Thing. They genuinely do that all the time. Mitty, my friend that worked store security for a while, they'd catch a guy and there'd be like 3 or 4 empty cans at his feet, and he'd be trying to kill the fifth. Or that there was one guy that like hid in the bathroom overnight, like stood on the toilet so they didn't notice, and they found him in the morning, passed out in a pile of keyboard dusters. By the way,
that's what Steve-O used to do. Yeah,
keyboard dusters have this additive in them, as I'm sure many products do, that tastes so horrific. Like there's no high worth that. There's no high worth. You know how if you lick deodorant accidentally, how that weird thing it does to your tongue? It's like that plus the bad part of a pecan, and it won't go away. Yeah, it's terrible.
I've told before, I went to high school with guys. 4 of them got a job working at the grocery store after school solely to do the whippets. It's when, what is it? It's not Cool Whip. What is the Ready Whip? The can one?
Well, Whippet is a brand. There's 2 brands.
Oh, Whippet is a brand?
Yeah.
I think that's what they called getting the air out of a Ready Whip.
Sure. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So. Nitrous oxide in general. What do you call it when you've got like the canisters and stuff? Whippets. Yeah, it's the same thing. You call it the same shit.
Or
right?
nitrous oxide.
It's all nitrous oxide.
You can go. Right? Yeah, I've never done it, but I've seen Degenerates on my cop videos, and I've seen, of course, on Amazon. You can go right on Amazon and buy like a Whippet kit. You can buy like all the canisters and like this dosing machine. You like put the canister in and like balloons up with it, or you can like shoot straight from the machine or whatever. I saw this lady get pulled over. Her whole floorboard was full of CO2 cartridges, and it's like, oh, not CO2, but nitrous oxide, I guess. It's like, what are you doing tonight, ma'am? And they're just like picking dozens and dozens of them. They drive around and do whippets.
Well, you can't do it just sitting still.
Yeah, they're trying to have a good time.
I think it might have been this show. You were talking about it. I can't remember. It was either here or Steve-O. It was one of the two. But they were talking about how on Amazon, like they know exactly what the fuck you're doing because the increments they sell them in, like 1, 4, 24, or like 948 or some shit like that. Like, we know what you're after.
Yeah, I think we did go through the Amazon listing for that, and that there were people in the comments like leaving. Not so well coded
ever. You forget the whole day.
Totally delicious. I had a hangover, or like just stuff that doesn't make sense.
My kids don't talk to me.
Yeah, I hate myself.
Is it a bad drug? Because
4 stars.
I've done it.
What I'm wondering though is it a drug that you would associate with like bad people? Because like drugs definitely have that, right? Like you think when you think of the typical user of insert drug, like. Is that guy an ass? Oh, meth. I think of a white guy every time. He's missing some teeth. His hair's greasy. He's way too skinny.
This is good. Continue with your meth stereotype, and I'm going to do some rapid fire drugs. You're going to fill me in?
Yeah, I don't think I want to play this game anymore.
Yes, you do.
I associate nitrous oxide with hippies. That's when I
associate nitrous as like a party thing for younger people.
Steve Miller concert. Yeah, there was a guy there with what those like. If you were to buy like acetylene, the things. This was like neck high, good 4 or 5 feet tall canister of nitrous oxide. And he was just selling balloons full of it.
I bet you could turn that around and make so much money. I bet he did. Yeah. I bet that giant tank costs a few $100s, and he's probably selling thousands of dollars worth of balloons. How illegal is that? That's another one of those. I saw a YouTube video the other day, and the whole premise was these are all I tried all those legal drugs you've heard about, and he's like chewing beetle bark. He's taking salvia. He's taking all sorts of different drugs. He did red cap mushroom tea, and it just I knew those drugs were legal, but I didn't think that they were.
Are they any good?
Yeah, that's what the video was about. Varying degrees of either like
what
really
was the
good
most tempting one?
I didn't watch the whole video, but I watched the red cap tea part where he was. By the way, red cap mushrooms are deadly in the right quantity, but he was eating the right quantity and making a tea of it, and he seemed like he was super like relaxed. He compared it to
almost dying,
like Xanax. He said it was like a few Xanax. He said he was like really chilled out. and it helped with sleep. He said.
Speaking of nitrous, and we had, dude, out of nowhere, we mentioned Milo on PKN, and then he came out and because he used to work with Kanye West, and he was saying that Kanye has a nitrous addiction that's being fueled by his dentist. Says that
I did see that picture of Kanye. He's got like the thing on his nose with like double hoses coming out of either side. He looked like the villain from Mad Max Fury Road. He looked like a Morton Joe. His nitrous.
He does. Find a picture of that. Yeah, this is what Kanye or Milo said about Kanye, and it's next to this picture of Immortum Joe. There's a reason Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, is no longer capable of successfully releasing music or clothing. In fact, there are several reasons, but the most serious and the most recent is his dentist, Thomas Connolly. Connolly got Ye hooked on nitrous laughing gas. It is my belief that Connolly sought to diminish Ye's mental faculties so that Connolly and his business associates could extract millions of dollars from him. Earlier this year, I uncovered the fraud and intervened. Ye, hooked on nitrous, blew up our relationship on purpose by proposing something that he knew I'd have to resign over because I told him so. The resurrection of his longtime idle fantasy of making pornography. Thomas Connolly is a dangerous predator who targets African-American celebrities into whose mouth he puts fake diamonds, as I suspect he did to Lil Yachty. He must be stopped. I filed a complaint with the California Dental Board, the highest board.
They already made it
to that end. Yeah, the California Dentist Board has assured me that they've investigated themselves and they've found no wrongdoing.
You know, I'm looking at that.
Zach, will you add that to our shop real quick? Give us one of those with the
BPAP users catching strays over here.
Oh.
This isn't cool.
Yeah, everyone's making fun. You're like, well, I need it to breathe. I'm not doing drugs.
What are the odds we're thinking that this is real?
100%.
Well, it is Milo, so you don't know.
I saw the picture of Kanye with the mask. I saw a different picture than the one Zach showed that you could see the mask.
Oh, I was meaning about the whole like sinister dentist and all that. Like,
oh, of course. Well, of course he does. Like, where else would he? Yeah, that makes sense. No, I believe all of that.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he
Kanye West. Look, that is a picture of him.
There's no way. That's a white eye underneath there. That's a woman. Or he has the most svelte shoulders I've ever seen on a man. That's like the normal Kanye. Man behind.
Why would they have that picture there if that weren't Kanye?
Maybe that's the dentist.
Or if that's the dentist, he's a fucking super villain.
Yeah, if that's the dentist, I believe everything. Like, I think he's doing a lot more than what Milo's letting on. If that's the dentist, but yeah, I guess. No,
I believe that 100%. Why not?
Yeah, Milo Yiannopoulos wouldn't just.
Why wouldn't that be true
on the internet?
He wouldn't just make things up online. But I don't know. Kanye, he's gone out there a few times, and this is an out there drug for a guy in his 40s to pick up.
I would like to think everything he said was said in his right mind.
100%. When he was showing 4chan graphs to people like on the news, that was very fun. I wish he would have kept doing that. That was so fun. Just they're trying to get him to talk about his new album, and he's like, I bet you would want to know you're Jewish, and like just accusing anyone and everyone, like a black guy, of being Jewish. That's his idea of who's behind.
I'm not gonna say what kind of doctor it was.
Yeah,
it was a Jewish doctor.
It was a Jewish doctor, and the way he says that with like the hammer drop.
Obviously, I feel bad. Like he's obviously having like a fucking mental health episode, but that means it's like fucking great.
Yeah, it was funny.
True and true.
Like it was good to have him going off for a bit.
If you don't make use of the memes, then he went through all of that for nothing.
We've talked about it many years ago, but gang stalking, I somehow found something about gang stalking again that got me interested in reading their subreddit about gang stalking again. And reminder, gang stalking is when people believe that dozens of people, if not more, hundreds, are following them in similarly colored cars, and they want to either kill them or harm them. And it could be something as simple as someone approaching you in the supermarket and saying, "Did you notice that? How much are those avocados? Are they're $6.99 a pound or $6.65 a pound?" It's like, oh, they're using the number 6. That's an evil number. They're trying to steal my energy. They're trying to pin me down. I have to get out of here. And so it's like, it's genuine. Like, I thought it was going to be more entertaining to read through it, but it turns out it's just like a cavalcade of people with clearly having quasi-psychotic episodes, encouraging each other in that, where someone will say like, I saw 5 red trucks today, 5 on my way to the bank. On the way back, I saw 3 more. Also, my neighbor, she stopped me and she said, I got this mail for you. Address on the envelope, 665 Northwest Post Avenue, whatever. And it's like all of this to them is like, and another thing, and another thing. And people will comment and respond and be like, better be on edge, man. It's like, clearly this is, and the only people that go in there to try and fix it are doing it in the most like tone deaf, mean-spirited, like, you guys are all retards and you're fucking morons and you need to go to a psychiatrist because you're mentally ill. And it's like, you're not gonna, they just by starting that conversation, everybody who believes this is already like, that's a perpetrator of this. That's someone that you need to, that person is trying to undercut us, gentlemen. It's trying to undercut us here. Don't believe them. So they're
clearly mentally
more
ill.
Real than you think.
They're clearly mentally ill. But look, I always side on the side of caution when I hear something like this, because I know how the internet works. So when I don't believe that there are very, very many people who actually believe the earth is flat, for example.
Yeah.
I think that there are people who are trolling and they're like, oh yeah, it's flat. Oh yeah, here's this study. Let me show you. And they really love both of the reactions that you'll get. They would love it when someone is like, holy shit, man, you're right. They're like, oh, I got another one. But they also love it when people are like, are you insane? And then they spend 30 minutes trying to prove that the world is round. Like, either way, they win. I think there are a lot of people who are like that. And then those are the ones who have like above average intelligence. And then there's all the dummies who are like, holy shit, man, maybe they're right. Maybe we're just on a big sandbox somewhere floating in the nether realm or whatever the fuck they believe. And like the explanations for what the earth actually looks like is always so absurd. They think it looks like the iris of an eye, or it's a big triangle, or it's always something nonsensical. Or
it's like a flat plane that's a circle, but it's the Arctic that's a complete circle around with the ice wall you can't get past. And they never, or at least I haven't done my due diligence, I'll admit, but I've never seen a convincing argument about why every other planet is round. Like, why would we be special?
They don't believe that they are. I think that I've heard both. I've heard them be like, oh, no, all the planets are like that. It's just a flat side facing us. And it's like, but they're rotating. But then I've heard them say that it's just us. We're the only one with people on it. Duh, dude.
Yeah, duh, idiot. The one with people on it has to be flat. Otherwise, you'd fall off. There'd be no Australia.
No, it's just nonsense. And so when I hear the gang stalking thing, that is so absurd that I think that you have like a very small minority of people who have schizophrenia being like egged on by internet trolls.
I think that's probably true to an extent, because there's clearly a bunch of posts here that is just people showing up to bully them. Or even sometimes I've seen people will make a post and be like, I made a post yesterday saying that I was an ex-perpetrator of gang stalking and I laid it all out and all of you retards fell for it. Ha ha ha. I was lying the whole time. And it's like, don't believe his backtracking. His seniors must have called him out on his lapse. And it's like, oh, you're really not helping here, man. You're not helping these people to see through the delusion. It's spooky. I feel bad for people with that level of delusion, because you know that, like, to them, they're not faking. It's 100% real to them. Like, everything it's like if you read about people with paranoid schizophrenia, like, it's not like Hollywood. Oh, these people are murderers and killers and they're just going to snap. And it's like, no, these people are mostly like concerned because the person at the bank spent longer looking at the screen when they gave them their debit card than they usually do, which means, of course, that they're sending a side email to the NSA to report them for purchases they've been making. What purchases? Doesn't matter, because I'm a targeted individual and they're going to come after. And it's like, it's wild. It is wild when you get into these communities.
And they've never got a good explanation.
Don't harass them, just read it.
Like, they've never got a good, like, if they had like a background story about how, like, oh yeah, it's all of the people like born under this astrological sign, like there's a cult and they believe that all the Tauruses are going to be blood sacrifices for when Cthulhu comes back, and so they're keeping track of us. If it was something like that, you'd be like, shit, I'm a Taurus. like looking out the window, like
that's what
you buy into it a little bit. But they're just like, yeah, there's red cars and the number 6. It's like, well, there's only 10 numbers. No, there's only 9 numbers, right? Yeah, like whole numbers, obviously. Just And then there's only so many fucking colors that cars come in.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're looking for, it's funny that it's red. Like it's not like, all of these cars in British racing green. It's like, no, they go with a common one that like tons of trucks are in red for reasons. And like, that's just doesn't make sense. Well, obviously it doesn't make sense
to me at some level, because here's the deal. Fly paramotor. And because of that, and I made these paramotor videos, there's some people in the aviation community that thought either I or my setup was interesting. So planes pass over the house, and then they pass over it like again and again, and they're flying lowish at like 1,000 feet, making multiple passes over my house. And I'm like, does he watch my videos? Why is this like little Cessna or this helicopter going back and forth over my house? It's not crazy. People have sent me pictures or said, Woody, I flew over your house. I was checking it out. And on the other hand, I feel like a guy watching black helicopters saying that they're here to get me.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, most of these people don't even have something flying over them at all.
Right.
And there's a mix of like what flavor the delusion is, I can tell, because there will be disagreements here between the people who think that it's a government, NSA, FBI, CIA psyop, which like is like, okay, well, at least those organizations do a lot of psyops. They're not spying on you though. And the other side, which is like satanic demons, where like, no, don't let them make you believe that these are, this is anything but Satan and evil and demons tracking you in like human form. It is. Oh, I just saw this post. An FBI, CIA type trick to trick me. Let's see what this says. A few years ago, I was active on or you guys talk for a second. Let me make sure that this isn't stupid.
On a related note, Tucker Carlson did this. And I'm not sure if he's crazy or not. Did you follow this news at all, Kyle? Tucker Carlson saying, okay, so he announced that I think the NSA, CIA, one of the 3-letter agencies was reading his mail and spying on him. And they were like, this is crazy. Tucker is not the target of an investigation. Well, that response is a little bit lawyerly, right? They didn't say we didn't do anything he said. They said he's not a target. Later, it comes out that this is what they did. They monitor emails to and from like Russian agents and Russian politicians just through like nosy tracking sort of spying type shit. I don't know how they do it. And some of them were from Tucker Carlson because he was trying to get an interview with Vladimir Putin. He didn't, but like that's what he was working on, which is a reasonable thing for someone in Tucker's position to do.
Yeah.
And then they unmasked him, which is normally when there's an American involved, they keep their identity private. Just say like Vladimir Putin sent an email to person of interest 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
But they looked into it and they said this was Tucker who was doing it. And I don't know what to make of that.
Aren't they not supposed to do that?
Unmasking?
Yeah.
That's where I'm stuck. So there's a part of me that's like, dude, they're looking into it. They're supposed to monitor this mail, I suppose. And they unmasked you. Stop making a big deal out of it. Then the other side of me is like, what are you, cuck? Like, unmasking is a big deal. They're not supposed to be doing that. You're a citizen. What, you're okay with being spied on? So I don't know if what they
I don't
did
care who it is, but if it's
not.
one of those alphabet agencies doing something like unmasking, I don't give a fuck who it is. Like, I don't like that. They don't have enough power. They don't have enough leeway to do whatever the fuck they want. They got to just insult to injury, show like, yeah, we can do whatever we want. And because we have gay pornography of every politician, nothing's going to happen. Like
it's like the Incredibles, when everybody's super, nobody's super. I feel like at some point all the politicians should be like, well, I'm not embarrassed. They've got gay porn on all of us. But
that would be funny. They all come out and they're like, guys, all at once now, let's just admit to being pedophiles. They can't vote they can't vote all of us out.
We're incumbents. We win anyway. But yeah. So they unmasked Tucker Carlson, even so he wasn't the target of it. They were just monitoring emails to Putin, and but he added like spice to it. This is the thing. Tucker is like, they're doing this and they're trying to take my show in the air. They want to take away my First Amendment rights. They want to lock me up. They want all of that spice was untrue, but it was true that they read his emails and said his name.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought it was somehow it was tied into the CIA's watching me thing. Taylor, was your post worth it?
It was not. It really went off the rails. You keep reading these and you're like, is it gonna get funny? And it's like, oh no, this is a catastrophic life event for this person that they thought they saw, an FBI agent tracking them. And one of the rationales I've seen for why they're targeted is almost narcissistic. And that seems to permeate a lot of people with like paranoid delusions also, where it's like you're so important that these people need to devote inordinate resources to tracking you, go work at Kohl's and then come back and watch fucking Price is Right. And it's about energy. A lot of them they'll say like, be wary of contact with people. If someone asks you to do something for them as a favor, they wield power over you now. That is a form of psychic manipulation. Now you're more likely to do something for them in the future. And you've surrendered a bit of power. Now they know that they can get you and work you into the pattern they want. It's like, how have your patterns changed in the last 3 years? It's like, not at all. Okay. I mean,
assistant to the manager at Kohl's.
And it's like, apparently it's like against the rules here to bring up mental illness. Like if you say literally, like if you say like, this is thinking that someone has implanted bugs into your head and is recording things in your brain is a very common form of paranoid delusion where they think like, literally there's an audio plant in my head. That's why I'm hearing voices. It's not because I have a neurological disorder. It's this plant. And like in the moment you feel bad for them. You can't help feel bad for them because it's like they believe that as much as like, a Muslim believes in their religion. Like 1,000,000%. Like if you were to put a gun to their head and be like, are you psychotic or is there a fucking plant in your head? They'd be like, there's a plant in my head. Why would I lie if you're going to kill me? Like they really are sold 100% on it.
Well, that probably shouldn't be a subreddit. It sounds like they are reinforcing some people's mental illness and that could end poorly.
That's how a lot of subreddits go. It's like we're a community, and then it's like, don't come in here with your facts. We're talking about gang stalking. And what are some other good forums on that, like on Reddit, that are just ridiculous and mental illness inducing, or at least encouraging, if not inducing? I'm trying to think. Women. Did you guys see this kerfuffle? There's a subreddit called Anti-Work.
Yes,
and
I've heard of the subreddit, but I haven't seen anything from it. So what's
a mod from the Anti-Work subreddit went on Fox News with Jesse Waters, who I don't know how popular he is on Fox News. I've seen his face before. Like he looked familiar when I watched the clip. It's only like a 3-minute clip, but it is so fucking embarrassing and difficult to watch. Like the person and the whole subreddit of Anti-Work, apparently I don't really follow it, I just know of it, but apparently beforehand they said, like, they took a big poll and were like, do we want our mods going on an interview in media and Fox News or whatever? And apparently the overwhelming response was like, no, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. This is a horrible, horrible idea. Don't do that. And this person went on and did it anyway. And like, you hear Fox and you think like, oh, are they going to like throw a sneaky bee little question or try and throw them off their game or throw salt into the mix? No, it is the most basic questions. And this person just keeps digging themselves a hole. So first of all, they get on the screen.
Wait, hold on. Are we watching this or just you describing?
No, we can't watch it.
Can't watch. Okay.
YouTube. Okay. Yeah, I'm just describing it. You can find it's like a 3-minute clip on YouTube. But the first thing you notice in the 3-minute like side by side is you've got the Fox News host, good-looking guy, well-dressed, clean background. Obviously, he's a news host. The other person, the mod of Anti-Work, is not looking at the camera. They're slumping, sitting over to the side. Their bed isn't made behind them. It is messy. The lighting isn't right. And it's just embarrassing to watch. And so you see this guy, Jesse, asking questions at Jesse Waters, the host, being like, so anti-work, like, first of all, just how old are you? And the person was like 30. It's a trans 30-year-old. And they're like, okay, and what do you do for work? And he said, she was like, I'm a dog walker, 30-year-old dog walker. And and Jesse Waters is sitting there like, oh. And how many hours a week do you work? And she was like, 20 to 25 hours a week. And he's like, and you think that's too much? You think that's just far too much? And she was like, not really answering that. But instead of, and I understand the frustration of people like who see the need for having conversations about workers' rights, because that is very important. But what they got was someone who literally said, this is a quote, that this person said, laziness is a virtue. Laziness is a virtue if you're not engaging in like the capitalist overstructure that is trying to force you to work. And it was cataclysmic how bad it went for him. I'm trying to see. I wrote something else down about what the fuck. Oh yeah, like he then asked her like, okay, so you work 20 hours a week dog walking. Do you have any aspirations outside of that? And she was like, I want to teach philosophy. And it was like, dude, this could not have gone worse and looked worse. It is so uncomfortable. It makes the whole movement of those people look like they genuinely, it made them look like, despite any arguments they have that are totally reasonable about workers' rights, it makes them look like a bunch of children who are like, I don't want to work. And so I went there I don't really go to that forum, but I went and looked around, and like everyone, like 100% of comments that weren't removed by these mods were like, this is absurd to send a single 30-year-old dog walker who works 20 hours a week. By the way, someone
aspiring philosophy professor.
Aspiring philosophy professor.
Like he has no
By the way, this person also had comments in their like history that they were posting on the Reddit that was like, I mean, I do work. I work 2 hours every day, 5 days a week. That's 10 hours a week dog walking. That's not 20 or 25. And it's like, oh my God. But like every single person is like, this is a disaster. They have humiliated the whole movement. Like do you think it would have been better if they got a single parent who's working 2 jobs and is in insurmountable debt, and inflation is causing problems? They can't afford a home. They're hemorrhaging money. Somehow they could afford a lower amount on a mortgage, but they can't afford, or they can't afford a lower amount on a mortgage. They can't afford a higher amount on rent.
Off schedule to fill in for other people with no compensation. Someone who's who is scheduled to work, say 9 to 5, but they routinely ask her to stay till 8, which brings daycare troubles. Like this
maybe
is what
lives in an area of the
is.
country where it's really expensive to buy a home, can't afford a home while they're doing this. They're just trying to make ends meet, trying to get a better future for their kids, and they just can't.
Wages have stagnated for 30 years. Meanwhile, home prices are skyrocketing.
There are so many angles.
There's so many angles you could take on this that it's like, that's a good point. That is a good point. But instead, and like the response from the forum is exactly how you think Reddit would handle it. All of these anarchists, so-called, or a lot of the mods are so-called anarchists. They immediately just come down like fascists. Like, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. They had another one of their mods post like a little update to everything. This mod described themselves as a long unemployed 21-year-old. That just means you've never worked.
Yeah, right.
Like that just means you haven't had a job yet. And so like, and now they're like,
means you're particularly
mods decided to put this person in
parent.
It is just wild to see like the mods of a forum, which is like, all you're doing, you're just fucking mods. You're not leaders of any movement. You just make sure that people don't say shit that's against terms of service. For them to foist themselves and be like, we'll do interviews on mainstream media, to not be smart enough to realize that accepting a mainstream media interview from Fox as an untrained mod on a Reddit forum, they're gonna clown you. I know, Fox News, they're so stupid. No, they're professional news anchors. You think any of us could go up there with Anderson Cooper or fucking the right-wing guy Tucker? You think we would get trounced by them because they know the medium, they know the format. They're not doing free speaking stuff. They know the right way to phrase things.
It might have helped too. Like there could be a team in that earpiece that they're listening to.
Yeah,
that's true too. Something tells me The only sounds he wasn't getting in this interview in that earpiece
Laughter.
was just howling laughter. Yeah, because I guarantee he had some like gotcha questions. They didn't even get to it. The big got-yas were how old are you and what is your occupation?
Yeah, the whole team's really enjoying this. You take this one here. You got it. We're just gonna watch. Ask her about the dogs. Ask her how many dogs she walks in a week, and then do the math.
These are some pretty long dog walks.
How many? Yeah, right. 25 hours a week, right? Wasn't that what it was?
That was the lie. Yeah. The reality was 10.
All right. All right. Let's say it was 25. Let's say you're walking each dog for an hour. So that could be 25 dogs if you were dumb enough to do each dog one at a time. That's like a premium service, right? We've seen dog walkers before, right? They look like a kid holding as many balloons as he can hold. There's bunches of them.
They charge by the pound, because I could walk 10 unruly Chihuahuas, but only one unruly Great Dane.
Yeah, they charge more for different classes of dogs. I think you got like an XL dog. I
didn't realize how absurd dog walking is as a thing. You get a dog and you're like, I'm gonna take this animal. I'm gonna take this animal home and I'm gonna take care of it. But I'm not gonna do even the basic minimum of giving it a walk. I'm gonna pawn that out. I'm gonna farm that out to someone else to do this for me because I want the dog, but I don't want to do even a walk. That's insane.
In my opinion, the dog walk hirer is out working, right? So the dog walker is letting the dog go to getting a bathroom break during the day, right? I think that's the scoop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think normally so. I doubt it's like you're relaxing on the couch and like, have the help do it.
I don't know, man.
I mean, some people I'm sure are, right? Like, but probably not most. It's probably like a daycare for dogs kind of thing, which is the cutest thing ever, right? Like when my friends like send their dogs to daycare, they take a picture of the dog like during the day, and they give them a little report card, and they're like Roscoe didn't really enjoy Josephine, but he's best friends for life with Roger.
My wife is attempting to talk into a dog right now.
There's like a picture of him and Roger, and Roger's like a basset hound, and Roger's like, oh, we're friends now. And it's like, oh shit.
Those are so funny. And then you realize it's just some like drunk employee. It's sitting in the back 15 minutes before you arrive. Fucking Scooter loves to dance. What else? Alex is a Republican. Just making shit up.
Your dog had a MAGA hat on.
Dylan is suspended from daycare for racist behavior. And he pooped on the ground.
He stays away from all the blonde dogs.
He assaulted a chocolate lab. It's a hate crime.
Woody, I told you before the show I got recognized in Tarkov, but I didn't tell you the details.